All right, hello. Today is Sunday, July 30th, 2017, and this is an oral history interview with Stephanie Bramer. We are currently at her house at 105 Lewis Circle, Winchester, Virginia, in her dining room. My name is Megan Wise, and I'll be the interviewer, and I'm Stephanie Bramer's daughter. And this interview is going to be done for the B side of the family and also the Richard side of our family, which is going to be her father and mother. Okay. So to start it off, I want to ask, what stories were told to you by your family that was passed down to you?
One of the most significant is my grandma, which is your great grandma on your grandma's side. Yeah. She was in a country band, a country gospel band.
Okay.
And was singing on the radio. And she met Chet Atkins, who is a famous country singer back in the probably 50s and 60s. And apparently he wanted to go out with her, and she didn't, and she ended up hitting him over the head with a guitar. And he is a very famous person, so that's kind of funny that she turned him down.
Yeah.
And that he actually wanted to go out with her, so because she was a really pretty lady. And also your other grandma on your other side, your great grandma and grandpa on your other side,
Okay.
my grandpa would deliver, your great grandpa would deliver bread in a delivery truck, and grandma would go along with the ride with him until they went on their date that night. So that was how, like, their first part of their date. Then they'd actually go out on a date. So, but yeah.
And this is your father side?
Yes.
His parents?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So, did we have any type of political activity through our family?
We really weren't into politics a whole lot.
Okay.
We didn't do a whole lot.
Did we have any kind of interaction with any politicians then? Did we support any politicians a lot?
Your great-grandmother, on your grandma's side, Grandma Richards, she did work for the mayor of Parkersburg, Mayor Pat Pappas. She worked with her, for her, before she became mayor, and she helped her become mayor, worked on the campaign. And then while she was mayor, she did her housekeeping and took care of her kids. And if she had benefits where she had to cook or serve, have a dinner, my grandma would cook for that. And she also helped out with any fundraisers or any type of thing that she needed her to help with, like fundraising or doing pamphlets or something like that. She would help out with that. And she did that, I think, for 2 terms while she was mayor.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Are you in possession of any family heirlooms, such as pictures? And do you have those? And would you mind showing me?
Sure. We have some pictures here of some of your grandparents. This is a picture of your Uncle Matt and Uncle Ben, be your great uncle.
Okay, so Uncle Matt's your brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Uncle Ben is your grandpa's brother.
Okay.
They live in Florida now. And this is Grandpa.
It's here.
Yeah, he's the one in bed.
Yeah.
That was him, unfortunately, right before he passed away.
And that is your dad's dad.
That's correct.
Okay.
And this is your Uncle Matt when he came back from Iraq.
Okay.
Yeah, he was over there for, I think, 8 months. And this was him on the day he came back. This is your Uncle Perry and Grandma and Aunt Helen. This, again, is on your grandpa's side.
Okay.
This is his sister, brother-in-law, and his mom.
Okay. And this is his sister, his brother-in-law, and his mom.
Yep, that's your great-grandma.
Okay.
Which you grew up with.
Yeah.
You didn't meet the other grandparents. But anyways, they lived in Japan. Your aunt and uncle, great aunt and uncle, lived in Japan while he was in the Air Force. Lived there probably, I think 20 years in the Air Force. And actually their youngest son is still over there teaching English. And yeah, so he stayed over there because he was just used to living over there.
Yeah. Now he was in the Vietnam.
No. He
Uncle
was
Perry
not.
wasn't?
He really wasn't in a war.
Oh, okay.
He's just been in the Air Force. He retired through the Air Force.
Okay.
And then this is your grandma and you. This is a fond memory. You just remember going over there and you played dominoes or cooked or whatever with great grandma. So you were lucky to have that relationship with her. So yeah, there's some pictures. And our family loves to crochet. So this was made by your great great grandmother, my great grandma on grandma's side, my mom's
Okay.
side, and she used to just crochet doily stuff and would make this.
Dolls.
So yeah, and I kept that one from her. And then your great grandma made animals, crocheted animals, and for all different occasions, I'm gonna put them out. But she was very good at it. She liked to do it. It relaxed her, so calmed her down. Let's see. Here's a picture of your great grandma, and this is my mom, your grandma. And this is her from high school, and I believe this is great grandma, probably from 30-ish, 30 years old maybe, something like that. So until they look alike.
Yeah.
And this is a cross stitch that your Aunt Kay did. Well, it'd be your great aunt.
Okay.
She loved to cross stitch, and she gave this to me, and we were supposed to exchange it whenever we'd meet up, and she'd swap it out for another one that she did, and we'd just kind of rotate it. But apparently I got to keep this because it's probably my house. So this is something that'll definitely be handed down. And probably one of the a significant one is this. I have some. Your great grandmother had a hotel in Middleburg, and this is the. You want to hold that one up?
Yeah.
This is the teapot and sugar pitcher from that hotel, the original. So we were lucky to keep that because that was back in the 20s and 30s. So, yeah, but that's something that we'll have to keep too.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's awesome. Okay, so on either side of our family, do you know what wars we were involved with as far back as you know?
Your great grandpa on grandpa's side, he was in World War II. He was stationed in Alaska.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure what he did up there. I have a saw from when he was up there that he said he got when he was in Alaska during the war. Obviously, Uncle Matt was in the Iraq War. Your grandpa was in the Vietnam. You had an uncle on grandma's side that was a Marine in the Vietnam.
Okay.
Your grandpa did. He was a medic and was stationed in the Philippines. Let's see. Uncle Mike was in the Gulf War, and I think that's it. So, we have General B. Your great aunt Helen actually did ancestry documentation that we are related. I'm not sure how because I haven't really talked to her about it lately. We are related to General Bernard Elliott B.
Okay.
who named Stonewall Jackson Stonewall, and he has a monument of him at Manassas Park. So that's kind of cool
Yeah,
in the Civil War.
it is.
And then we do have relatives that were in the Revolutionary War that's been documented going back. So
All right, that's awesome. So, were there any other like historical events that we were involved with throughout history, other than wars?
probably your great grandma on your dad's side, the one that you knew and kind of grew up with. She worked at Firestone making airplane parts during World War II.
Okay.
She was considered Rosie the Riveter, and she did that. And she lived with like 4 girls in an apartment, and it's kind of like what you would see on TV, how they would live and go out in the evenings, and they'd go to dances, and they'd have to dance with their friends because there were no men; they were all in the service, so they danced among themselves just to have fun. But she did put together airplane parts during the war.
Oh, that's awesome. So, where did our family live as far back as you know? Maybe a state, city?
Most of our family, the majority, are from West Virginia, from the Parkersburg area, which is right over the border of Marietta on Ohio River. Um, that's where I was born, and your grandma and grandpa, and we just have a lot of ties there and family there. But your great grandma was born in Tyler County, which is Middleburg, which is where that hotel was I showed you. Your grandpa on your great grandpa on your dad's side was born in 1914, and grandma in 1918. He was born in West Virginia in Pennsboro,
Okay.
and she was born in Tyler County, in West Virginia.
And this is my grandpa, so your dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then other grandma and grandpa on the other side, they were born in the early 20s and 1920s, and they were both born in Wood County. So very strong ties there in West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay, so do you have family names that you know of that go as far back as you can remember on either your mother's or your father's side?
Probably we have the Bernard B, obviously, Bernard Elliott. There's a Benjamin Wycliffe B, which is a descendant of General Bernard, or General B. Let's see here. Randolph was another name. Let's see here. And that might be.
Okay, so let's go ahead and finish up on what names you knew as far back as you could.
Okay, I think we were talking about Randolph, and that was from the American Revolution, and that was on, I believe, the Richard side, and I'm not sure where the documentation is or who has it. I remember that just being talked about, so we do have a few ties with pretty far back.
Okay. Okay, so what denomination were we, and were we always religious?
Yeah, we always, as far as we've always had a Christian background, a faith in Christ. So we've always gone to church. We've always, as far back as I can remember, the denomination that we're most associated with is probably United Methodist.
Okay.
Seems like every church we've gone to has been that, or was that, years ago. And the main church that we probably involved with is Bott Chapel. It's in Walker, West Virginia, which is outside of Parkersburg, and that is where a lot of your relatives are buried. And it's a church that I grew up in. I saw it go from outhouses to actually have indoor plumbing. It's gone through a big change, but that's probably the one we're most associated with.
Okay. Okay, so did you have any family reunions on either side of your family? And, if you did, what do you remember about them?
Yeah, we had family reunions on both sides of my family. Probably the Richards, we had more. We had it pretty much every year until probably about 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And it just kind of, generations changed. But yeah, we had family reunions, and it was at a park, and you went to some of those, so you might remember some of the rides, and it had a train outside that I used when I was a kid, and ever since I can remember, it's been there. And then we'd have auctions at those reunions, great food, sweet tea before it was famous, and it just seemed like we just had a really good time getting together. It was a real nice family. And then on your grandpa's side, we went to a few in Middleburg. And that one, we'd get together and we would sing. They would bring their banjos or their guitars. And I think we even had a microphone and drums one time. And I believe you sang with Grandma, your great-grandma. And she was so happy that you could sing with her and in front of everybody. So that was fun. And we did that and played games out there. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So, what significant things happen to you in your personal life that you would like to be passed down to generations?
Well, Your great grandmother made a cassette tape. She was going to record her life on a cassette tape, and she didn't get very far. I think she was born in like 1918 and got to 1924, so she didn't get too far. But it was interesting to hear her talk about it and about her life, you know, far back as she could remember. Probably the other thing is we have VCR tapes that I had and that like my mom and them had, and slides that was back in the 60s and 50s that your grandpa had, and all that's been put onto CDs now, and I like to hand that down, just so you guys have that record of the past.
Yeah.
And all your family members and what all we used to do before we had cell phones and things. But another memory, like just a memory in general, is when we went to California. Me, Uncle Matt, he was 10, I was 18, and Ashley, my stepsister, your aunt, she was probably about 8, and Grandpa and Grandma, we went to California for 6 weeks after they got laid off from the rubber companies up in the tire companies in Akron. And we drove out for 5 days to California. Stayed with, once we got there, well, we went to Vegas first and then California, but we would stay with whoever would take us. If anybody had a spare room, or whoever wanted 3 kids and 2 adults, we stayed with. And we actually stayed at a really bad place in LA where Donna, my stepmother, was afraid that we were going to get killed or something, because it was a really bad part of town.
Oh my goodness.
And we went to a beach there, a new beach that we probably shouldn't have. We didn't actually go onto the beach, but I wanted to see the Pacific Ocean. So we went there and ended up being the wrong beach because we didn't know any better. We'd never been there. The traffic was horrible. And then we had to drive back for 5 days after being out there and together for 6 weeks. And your Uncle Matt had his birthday out there somewhere in LA at a pizza place. So yeah, that was pretty interesting, and something we talk about, you know, as us as a generation of family. So
Oh wow.
yeah. And then also, remember when we went to New York, when Matt lived in New York, and he had like 900 square feet apartment, and it was you and me and Grandma, Matt, his new wife, new baby, their cat. Then Ivana's, Matt's sister, wife's family, her mom and her sister, and I think they had a dog. I don't know if the dog was there. But yeah, and all of us in 900 square feet with suitcases, you know, all of us having a suitcase, the brand new baby, like we're talking like not even 6 months old, in New York running around. And we were out there one time, and you and Grandma fell asleep on a tour bus that we took around the city because we were so tired. We couldn't sleep at Matt's. Yeah. And we were so cold. But those are just memories that we'll have fun, you know, remember about Grandma and just the adventures, I guess.
All right. Well, I do want to thank you so much for allowing me to interview you. And this is the end of the interview of July 30th, 2017. The interview with Stephanie Bramer, and the interviewer was me, Megan Weiss.